As we went through each of these income-driven repayment plans, I mentioned that if you're in one of these plans, the payments may last for a certain amount of time, usually 20 to 25 years. So you might be asking, if the payment is based on my income, how can you be sure it'll be enough to pay off my loan by the end of the 20 years, especially if my loans are enormous? Well, that's where loan forgiveness comes in. What is loan forgiveness, you ask? Loan forgiveness means that once you reach a certain point, no more payments are required. In the case of income-driven repayment plans, if you've made all the necessary payments for the required amount of time, once you reach the end of the term, the payments stop. No more payments are required, even if there's still a balance left on the loan. However, if there is a balance left, it could be considered income. If it is, you may receive a 1099-C form after the end of the year reporting any amounts that were forgiven. For example, if you have a $10,000 balance remaining on the loan that's forgiven, you may have to report $10,000 in income and pay any taxes that might be due on it. Keep in mind, the taxes due will still be far lower than the balance of the loan, so it's a good trade-off. Even if you're not using an income-driven repayment plan, you could still be eligible for loan forgiveness. The first type of forgiveness that I want to explain is based on where you work. This program is called the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, or PSLF. If you're a full-time employee at a federal, state, local, or tribal government agency, you may qualify. Most 501c3 organizations like charities qualify. And most full-time teachers at elementary and secondary schools qualify. You need to make on-time loan payments for 10 years. And any forgiven balances at the end of the time period are not considered taxable income, which is a big benefit over the plans we already discussed. This program applies to direct student, parent, and consolidation loans. You may also get loans forgiven based on what you do. There are forgiveness programs for certain types of jobs. If you're a teacher, the Teacher Loan Forgiveness Program applies to you if you work in a qualifying school for at least 5 consecutive years. It can forgive between $5,000 and $17,500 in direct and Stafford loans. The Nurse Corps Loan Repayment Program is for registered nurses, nurse practitioners, and nurse faculty members. You'll need to work in a qualifying high-need area, but you could have 60% of your loans forgiven in just 2 years. Now, the federal Perkins Loan cancellation program only applies to Perkins loans, which are slightly less common. However, education workers such as teachers, firefighters, law enforcement officers, nurses, public defenders, and service volunteers could have all of their Perkins loans canceled. Loans are partially forgiven each year, starting with 15% in the first year and again in the second year, then 20% in each of the next 2 years, and then the last 30% in the fifth year. There are also a number of state-sponsored forgiveness programs based on the needs in individual states. It's a good idea to check and see if you're working in a high-need area, and the link shown here for the American Federation of Teachers funding database could be a great place to start. You'll also want to carefully consider which loan programs fit you best and how to maximize the benefit. For example, if you qualify, it might be best to use an income-driven repayment plan to get an affordable monthly payment, and also use the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program to shorten the length of the repayment period as well. It also avoids the taxability of the forgiven balance. If you're looking at loan consolidation, you may not want to include Perkins loans in the consolidation, so that you can still use the federal Perkins Loan Cancellation Program, since it could eliminate the loan over 5 years. You also can't use multiple programs. For example, as a teacher, you can only take advantage of either the Teacher Loan Forgiveness Program or the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, but not both at the same time. But if you do get into a plan that creates an affordable monthly payment, you'll also want to think about whether you want to pay aggressively and pay it off as soon as possible, or if you're better off paying for the required period of time and having some of that balance forgiven. These kinds of decisions can depend a lot on the specifics of your situation, so it could be a good idea to discuss them with someone